Cash Cow, we're back with another video. Today we're gonna talk about Cain Marko. Some of y'all you know or already know who that is. It's the Juggernaut. Let's go! Like, this is my favorite character, right? Always have been, always will be. Like, there's plenty of other characters that come and go, and you're like, yeah, they're okay. Like, I like their abilities and all that. But this is the Juggernaut. Like, this guy has his comics. Well, from his first appearance, he was in Silver Age, right? And then he got released in what, more than, was it 3 to 4 more decades of comics. Like, Juggernaut has been around. They have not been able to get rid of him at all. So today we're gonna dive deep into Juggernaut, Cain Marko. Y'all want to see those 3 comics on Comic Spotlight? Stay tuned. But first, we're gonna do the background. All right. Now, what people fail to realize is the first appearance of Juggernaut was X-Men number 12. It's an early X-Men comic, Silver Age, of course. It's definitely been going up. Because people know that Juggernaut's coming back. Like, if they're gonna relaunch the X-Men, they gotta do Juggernaut. He's coming in there. Like, he's been part of the Brotherhood of Mutants, which deals with Mystique and Magneto, New Excalibur. Actually, the Thunderbolts. The Thunderbolts. People don't understand. Like, he was around with the Thunderbolts. Like, he was associated with them too. And that's just for you spec heads out there that, like, really are specking on the Thunderbolts. And I am too. Like, I know eventually they're gonna get their day. I think, like, the fact that people want to see something different and they don't want to see superheroes all the time, that's what's actually giving the push to it. People want to see how villains became villains. Because for the most part, it's not normal. Like, you're like, okay, well, why did this guy become a bad guy when he didn't have to? In reality, it may have been 1 or 2 different decisions that may have changed Juggernaut from being a villain to a superhero. But I told you guys, I like villains more than I like superheroes. I do. I just do. So with that being said, like, we get the background on it. Cain Marko is not a mutant. Let's get that straight now. He's not a mutant. He's actually a regular human. A regular human. He's a human. And he actually stumbled upon armbands from, I hope I pronounced this right, y'all. Cytorak? Something like that, right? He actually gets these he stumbles upon and finds these mystical armbands that's able to be put around his arms that gives him the superpowers that he needs. Well, superpowers and mystical, all that in that realm, right? So that's what gives him his powers. Without that, he would just be a regular Joe Schmo. And then if you watch the X-Men animated series back in the day, it's a part where they're fighting Juggernaut and they kind of like disarm him, like take his helmet off and take his bands off, and they're just like, oh, he's just a regular guy. Like, but you had to be able to get to Juggernaut to do that. That's the thing they didn't really show in that series. Like, the Juggernaut has a mystical force field to him that actually protects him from a lot of those attacks. People don't understand that as well. Like, you have to be able to even get close to him. Not to mention that, let's be honest with it, he's the step brother of Professor X. So him and Professor X grew up together. Professor X is his step brother. His father was more disappointed of him than he was of Professor X, which kind of drove a wedge between him and Professor X because he didn't receive that same love that that his father was giving to Professor X. That's a very big indicator of what can be, make you become a villain. Also, lack of circumstances, lack of love, that can do it, right? So, and I'm sorry, I apologize. It's actually over 5 decades that he's been introduced in comics. Like, he's had classic battles with Colossus, Hulk, I guess you would say Deadpool, Wolverine, other X-Men members. Like, Juggernaut has fought them all, pretty much. Like, for the most part, with Marvel, comic book wise, he has fought them all, and I think they did a real good depiction of who he was. Kinda, they didn't really go all the way into it because it didn't fit the narrative. And Deadpool #2, I liked that version of Juggernaut compared to the Fox version with Vinnie Jones. I didn't really care enough for that. He would say 1 or 2 lines and then he would start charging. I'm like, Juggernaut was different, and I feel like they did a better, way better job of promoting him in Deadpool #2. So, with that also being said, you have to stop and look and listen and think, like, okay, well, what is his powers? Well, for one, he's called the Unstoppable Juggernaut because once he gets to charging and going forward and trying to advance or tackle or go through whatever he got to go through, that force can't be stopped. It can't be stopped by just a regular mutant or a human, or it has to be somebody that really got their power up together. Like, it's not gonna be no average person that stops him. You gotta really be on top of your stuff to stop him. So that's one of the things why he became what they would name an irresistible force, which is actually what Wolverine called him. And that's saying something. When Wolverine give you your props like that, that's saying something, because Wolverine is tough as they come. So Wolverine looking at you like, oh man, I gotta deal with him today, it's gonna be a problem. That means he's gonna give you enough of a battle to where you like, I don't even want to deal with this dude no more. I just want to get out of here and go on to do whatever else I was planning on doing, but I don't want to deal with this guy no more. Now remember, he got the power from the armbands. The armbands are important, right? So also people gotta think he possesses superhuman strength because of that. He can lift like entire buildings and like stoplights or whatever. Like, none of that bothers me. Pick it up, drop it on your head. You out of there, right? Not to mention, you still gotta worry about this guy charging and like running you over and dealing with you, like getting you out of there, like on some straight like Adrian Peterson type stuff. Like he's gonna run you over. He's gonna run you over. Not to mention the invulnerability because the bands protect him. So he has a force field that if you get close enough, he can activate that because of his mystical powers, because of the armbands, that he can repel any attack also. Not to mention the helmet. The helmet is like one of the most important things because it prevents you from being able to mentally attack him. So with the X-Men, you had a few psychics. You had Jean Grey. You had Professor X, his stepbrother. I can't think of really right now of any other ones. I mean, was Apocalypse a psychic? Can't really recall, but I think he may have had some ability in that too. But telepathically, that's not gonna work. Like as long as he has his helmet on, you're gonna have to actually deal with him in physical brute strength. That's how he would get you because he would have that helmet on that's actually blocking him and protecting him from anything you do to like attack him mentally, right? So it's just crazy because you're seeing his comic go up and up and up and up, and you're like, man, like, you know the X-Men are coming back. It's only a matter of time. You know they're coming back. And you're like, man, can you imagine if Marvel does their version of Juggernaut, how it would be? It would be totally different, right? It wouldn't be nobody can stop the Juggernaut, and then he runs, and that's it. That's crazy, man. Like, that's weak. Like, Kane Marco, also known as Juggernaut, is totally a different character. Like, he's been around long enough to where you're like, come on now, he deserves more than that. Like, come on now, right? So it just got me to thinking, and it inspired me for this video because that's my favorite character. Like, Juggernaut is one of the reasons I fell in love with comics, right? I fell in love with the first appearance of him. I fell in love with just the ideology of whoever created him. And I haven't stopped since then. Like, that's my guy. Like, of course, you had Stan Lee, you had the Jack Kirby art. You know how that goes, right? Those guys, they paved the way. Like, they did some amazing things with the way Marvel's going now. A lot of the stuff wouldn't exist without them. And shout out to them because they really trendsetted a lot of stuff. So, I mean, Juggernaut is one of the reasons why I started all of this. Like, not with the YouTube as far as that, but why I fell in love with comics, why I started to enjoy comics, and why I want to know more of the character, and why I fell in love with villains. Like, Juggernaut is one of those guys. Like, he's that top guy. And I have a few other top villains, but Juggernaut is that guy to me. Like, that's my favorite character, no matter what. Like, people like, oh, Wolverine and Hulk and man, they alright. You know what I'm saying? They alright. Of course, they're heroes. They're gonna win all the time. I get that. But at the end of the day, can you not show some love for the villains? Because at the end of the day, the villains is actually what makes the superheroes. A lot of people don't understand that they have to have somebody to fight, right? But the characters that's willing that you can't get rid of that stay around forever, that's the ones like, come on, man, you can't get rid of Juggernaut. They ain't killed him off or oh we're gonna do this and we're gonna take one of your powers and I'm like no, Juggernaut's a problem. You see that big brown auburn color helmet, you know you got a problem. You gonna have to deal with him. And you ain't gonna like it, but you gonna have to deal with him. Now before I get into these three comics I'm gonna show you, because it's comic stock spotlight. I just want to put out the message that X-Men comics are going up, right? So you guys, and I'm just put this out now, you guys need to really, really, and I'm beating on the table now, invest in X-Men and Fantastic Four comics. Those are going to be big because a lot of those started in the Silver Age. So you have your first appearance of Magneto, Scarlet Witch, the Blob, Toad, Mystique, who else can you name me? Like you got you got Jubilee, you got Wolverine, you got it's just a Gambit. Who else? Rogue. You got, and these are comics that's actually spanned out. So it's not just Silver Age. You got Copper and Bronze Age as well. Like X-Men has been a long running series, and for a while they struggled to find villains that they can actually continue to battle, and Juggernaut is one of them, right? Y'all want to see those three comics? And let's get into it, right? So, X-Men 32. Hopefully, you guys can see that. Got the third appearance of Juggernaut, right? And you see, like, from the cover, right? He already thrashing the X-Men. He going in at them. He beating them down. Like, it's not gonna take one person alone is not gonna beat the Juggernaut. Like that's not gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. Dude got too many powers, right? So it takes a whole team to beat this guy. So imagine if when Marvel gets their hands, and they already have because they acquired the rights, that they can do Juggernaut their way, the right way. And it's not just rushed, and he's not throwing out one-liners, and nobody can stop Juggernaut. Like, man, come on, man. That's just no disrespect. Like Vinny Jones, for what they had him in, he was what they needed as Fox wise. Like he was. I ain't gonna lie to you. He was cool. But the Juggernaut they did with Deadpool was totally different, more talkative, more of an asshole. Like he was what they needed. And then they actually had the iconic Juggernaut versus Colossus battle. Like that's one of the biggest battles. And if you watch the X-Men animated series, you notice that that's who they started off with. They started off with them two fighting. That's one of the most iconic battles. Like Colossus can pretty much turn into steel or whatever metal source, and he can fight off Juggernaut. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was tough, but he can still fight them off. But I mean, this is a classic cover, and for me, this is a buy. This is a buy. This is X-Men number 32. This is a buy. Like, Juggernaut is hot, and I say this in like a grain of salt because people are like, okay, he's hot, but people aren't really paying attention to him. Like the investors know, and certain people know, like, okay, Juggernaut's coming. They haven't really bought into it yet, which I don't understand because you know that they're gonna make X-Men, you know they're gonna do all that over again. They're gonna bring out Apocalypse eventually, Mystique, whatever. Why would you not invest in Juggernaut? You got Juggernaut, you got Magneto, you got Blob. Buy those, y'all. Like that's the crazy thing about it because you know it's coming. So right now when the comics is bubbling, get them. They're bubbling. They haven't even reached their full potential yet. Like the first appearance is already hot. You're for the most part, you're not gonna find that for under $1,000. In a decent grade, you're not gonna find that for under $1,000. Now there's some deals you can make, and I'm not, I'll never push that away and be like, oh, you only can spend this amount. I'm like, no, you can find those deals. It's just gonna be really, really, really hard. So, if people can't get the first appearance, what are they gonna go after? Second appearance. Second appearance jumps and spikes, which it will do because that's how the market is. What can you find? The third appearance. These are early X-Men comics, y'all. So they will retain value. They will. That's a buy. Next, we got X-Men number 13. This is the second appearance of Juggernaut. And you see the armbands on him. And what do you have? The X-Men trying to fight him and beat him. Right? Just saying. Like, if you can't get the first appearance, which if any of you guys watch my PGX unboxing, you will know I got the first appearance. Like, this is my favorite character. I'm gonna have the first appearance of him, right? So it's just exciting to watch and speculate knowing the future of X-Men and Marvel. And DC, at times when they get that stuff together, it's exciting. Anything else, like Image and all that, like, it's exciting to me. Like, this is this is who I grew up watching. Like, that's what made me say, oh man, I love that character. I wonder if it's any other characters that have special abilities or that's like him or that's different from him or that can battle him. This is that guy. Like, that's it. This is also a buy for me. I can't feel like the first 3 appearances, and I'll put up 3 that way, you can't go wrong with Juggernaut. You really can't because all of them maintain their value. They don't lose their value at all. Hope you guys see that. But I mean, it's just like X-Men 32, X-Men number 13. This is second appearance. That's his third appearance. You can't go wrong with any of these. None of these you can go wrong with. To me, all of these are a buy. Because it's only a matter of time before they reintroduce them and do a third way, and you're like, or maybe they can go off the Deadpool movie and they can stick with that Juggernaut. You know, like come on now, where walks the Juggernaut? Like quit playing. Number one, my baby. We got X-Men number 12, right? First appearance of him. 3.0. I'm happy with that. I don't care. I'm happy. Oh my god, I remember when I first started like going after mega keys and I was like, okay, I want to get this and get that. This is one of the first ones I got. I was like, I gotta get the first appearance of Juggernaut. And I'm glad I did because now you see the prices and you're like, oh man, I can't afford that. Well, me at this point, I can't afford that. But it's just like, come on, man. Like, it's iconic. Like, this is an iconic cover. And I mean, I know you got a little, a little spot missing from his helmet. I get that. But it's a complete copy. I mean, you got a few pages missing, but the story is complete. That was the main thing for me. Let his story be complete. I can care less about that. This is the first appearance of Juggernaut. This is the first appearance of what's his name? Sidorak? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I'm sorry. I apologize. Sidorak. It's the first appearance of him. He's the guy that made the mystical armbands and all that stuff. So they dive deep into him, and this is his origin and all that stuff. And they explain to you, like, the armbands and the mystical powers and what they possess. And Juggernaut gets powerful, like, more powerful as he continues to go. So at first you didn't know what the hell he was doing, but then you're like, oh, he figured it out. I mean, that's with anybody. Like, when you first start, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, but then you grow that confidence and you continue to go. And then next thing you know, you a problem. And that's what Juggernaut is. He's a problem. He's a problem. Oh my god. I can't believe this, man. Like, when I first got this comic, right? I got this probably about 2-3 years ago, right? I got this for under $200. And I said to myself, with a lot of the mega keys that I end up getting, I said to myself, I can get a lot of these for under $200 if I just stay patient and focus on what I need to do. And as you'll see in future videos, I got some keys, like major keys. Not like outshining nobody else. I'm just saying from my standpoint and videos I've seen before and now and whatever, I got key books. And I'ma stand on it. Like, I don't care. Y'all can feel how you want to feel. I just enjoy the smell of comics. I enjoy the covers. I enjoy the hunt, the thrill when you finally get it. Like, I enjoy all of that. Like, I'm passionate about it. This is fun for me. This is fun for me. Oh, I got the first appearance of that. Oh, I got the first appearance of that. I mean, I get it. At times, people be like getting crazy and be like, "Oh man, you trying to have a pissing contest?" And no, it ain't that. But I mean, we as humans are designed to be competitive. It's no way behind that. That's why we enjoy the thrill of the hunt. That's why you have multiple comic channels because you enjoy it. You choose to subscribe to who you want to subscribe to or watch who you want to watch, and keep it moving. But for me, I'm gonna have fun with it. Like I'm just in a space where I'm just happy getting stuff together. I'm focused on the keys that I still want to acquire. But at the end of the day, he started it all for me. So with that, I want to leave you guys. Say cash cow out. Enjoy yourself. Be safe. Stay on your toes out here. And remember, if you don't hunt, you can't complain. Cash cow out.